Hi, good morning. My name is Rosemarie Ferrante, and I'm today's host of Community Forum. I am a family attorney in Connecticut with offices in Danbury and Greenwich, and I focus solely on non-adversarial divorce through the divorce mediation and collaborative divorce processes. Today, I am joined by two of my amazing colleagues who are also divorce professionals. And we're going to be talking about the stressors that families have been going through in the past year due to COVID and how we, as divorce professionals, can assist them and their families in transitioning through the divorce process in as healthy a manner as possible. This is not the first time that I am joined by these two colleagues of mine. We have worked together tremendously. We present workshops to people in Connecticut and individuals contemplating and in the early phases of divorce through our organization, Divorce Resource Connecticut. I'm so happy to be joined by Hollis Hardiman and Kelley Alvarez. Kelley Hopkins-Alvarez. There they are. Hi, ladies. Oh, I feel better now. I can see you. I'm going to let you both just introduce yourselves for a moment, if you don't mind, and tell us a little bit about what you do, and then we can get into discussing how we're helping families. Hollis, go first.
My name is Hollis Hardiman. I'm a financial advisor at Price Financial Group in Wilton, Connecticut. I do all the fun things that regular financial advisors do, but I do solely focus and like to steer a lot of my work towards divorce and helping people as they move financially through the process. It is a very overwhelming process, and I find that a lot of people need help understanding their financial picture in their household. So I try my hardest to walk the couple or one of the spouses through the process as they are dealing with their mediation or their attorney, and help them with their short-term and long-term goals.
Thank you. And hi, Kelley.
Hi. Well, thank you for having me on. And hi, Hollis. I am Kelley Hopkins-Alvarez. I'm a licensed professional counselor and certified discernment counselor with an office in Ridgefield, Connecticut. And I find my way to our mutual clients usually through couples therapy. At times, they will come in to begin to start to work on their relationship. In some cases, I will be referred directly through attorneys or someone like Hollis, a financial neutral, to work in discernment counseling, which we'll talk later. So I'm glad to be here. Thank you for having me.
Thank you. And we are all a part of an organization in Connecticut called the Connecticut Council for Non-Adversarial Divorce. That is the statewide organization that focuses on non-adversarial divorce processes. We are a multidisciplinary organization, financial professionals, mental health professionals, and legal professionals. As most people know, any divorce touches on all three. And it's imperative that people have the support and information and resources they need from all three industries. So, let's start with you, Kelley, because again, COVID has been a really difficult time for a lot of families. And I know your business is just booming, unfortunately, for the community. There's a lot of stress. And so when you first see couples in crisis, can you talk to us a little bit about what services you provide, what discernment counseling means, and then we can talk also about healthy separation as well.
Sure. Well, this has been a very unique time. We're all aware of that. And I'd say most of the couples that I'm working with are parents. So the corresponding issues with the schools have really exacerbated existing, I'd say, negative cycle issues with the couple. So although most of the issues of people I'm dealing with are pre-COVID, and most of the clients would say that is true, everything has just sort of gotten more compacted with COVID. The primary thing that I am helping people with in this process, once we've gone through couples therapy, if they've come to me in that method, is to encourage them that even though they haven't been able to come to a resolution in their marriage and repair the relationship, that their choice to progress to either healing separation or divorce, it doesn't mean that they don't have the skills to do that. So initially what I'm doing is helping the couple at this time during COVID grapple with their kids home, honestly, just trying to find a way for them to come into the office. I do see clients in the office. And if we are doing Zoom, that can be a little challenging with kids at home, overhearing crying, overhearing they're supposed to be on a Zoom call, but the teacher ended their Zoom school early or Zoom session early, and they are about the house moving around. So that's been a challenging thing for couples to, based on COVID, just to be able to find a quiet, private space to do this work. So some of my couples are doing a Zoom call in front of Dunkin' Donuts in their car. We've had to adapt to the situation, and I am guiding couples to try to find the privacy they need to be able to slow down and take the encouragement that they can have a healthy divorce and that they can make the best decisions for themselves.
Yeah, I love that. And I often see couples who are clearly in crisis mode. They often think that the lawyer or the mediator should be the first phone call. And so when I see, two couples in a consultation, oftentimes one spouse is 10 steps ahead of the other. So, how does discernment counseling really help couples in that place? Is it to, because I think a lot of people get confused with, it's not marriage. We've gone through marriage counseling. We don't need to go through that. So what can you help us understand that a little bit more?
Well, first of all, I'm glad that you're asking about discernment counseling, because most people don't know. I mean, more and more are getting a handle on what it is. It's not couples therapy, you're correct. It's basically an in-between space for the couple to kind of pause the relationship, at times pause major decisions. And it's a 5 to 7 session process. The sessions are longer in length. And our ultimate goal in discernment is to discuss 3 paths. Path 1 being status quo, working with the couple and say, do you want the relationship and your home to be status quo? And almost every couple will say, no, we're not evaluating path 1. So we can take path 1 out of our 3 paths of discernment. Path 2 is, do we want to progress to discussions around healing, separation, or divorce? Path 3 is, are we curious and do we think that a course of a minimum of 6 months of couples therapy could work for us? Many of the people I've worked with have already been to therapy, so at least one of them may feel that might not be an option for them. So I am helping them really continually to look at those 2 paths. The format, we come in together at the beginning of the session, one goes to the waiting room, I work with one person alone, then we switch, and then we come back together in the end. A big part of discernment is you learning about yourself and how you do relationships and what your role has been in this particular relationship. We want people, before they make the biggest decision of their life, to understand what they may have contributed to, because there could be an opportunity to apologize to their co-parent. And what would that be like? I sure for you, Hollis and Rosemarie, with clients, the value of an apology in terms of people trying to make decisions and help them when they have an impasse is pretty powerful. So I hope I answered your question.
Absolutely. And in fact, I do tell, I say this often in conversations with other colleagues, that when couples have gone through discernment and then they come to mediation, it seems that they come in with much more clarity. There's a lot less questions about, why are we even here? How did this happen? And once there's that clarity, people are able to make better decisions, right? And so that's, the decisions that they're going to be called on to make with respect to finances and with respect to the legal ramifications of their decisions are so long-term. These are not small decisions. And it is almost impossible to make those decisions if you can't manage your emotions. And, nobody is saying that any divorce is devoid of emotion. It's the biggest piece of it. And right. in my experience, when people have the support that they need emotionally and the tools they need, then they're able to grapple with these big decisions that they have to make. I would love for you to talk a little about the healthy separation, because then I think that's going to tie into some financial considerations that we can talk to Hollis about.
Right. So path 2 would either be of discernment, discussing healthy separation or divorce. A lot of people who come into discernment we kind of overlay separation with discernment because many people are in some form of separation already. Many of them have been living in the same home, have slept in different bedrooms and been able to kind of cover that by sleeping with a child or saying someone's been snoring. So there's been some level of separation in some case. They've been living sort of parallel lives, doing things separately with the kids and maybe coming together occasionally to do things as a family. So we're trying to concretize that. We're trying to like flesh out more of what is a separation and what does a healthy separation look like. And there's actually a model created by Dr. Bruce Fisher, who unfortunately died too soon. So many of us as therapists aren't familiar with that model. So I've been trying to share it with people. A healthy separation could be that someone does not live in the house. So for someone like Hollis, I pretty early in the process, I'm referring people to understand their legal and financial resources. Even if they're not sure if they want to go through with a divorce, it can be important for them to understand what is available to them. I had a couple last week where one member of the couple is getting a short-term lease for a few months, and they wanted to know, what does that mean legally? And I said, that's a great question. I, of course, can't answer that. What does it mean financially based on our other investments? I said, that's a great question. We need to get you to the financial neutral person who works with both of you together to prioritize your main interest, which is usually the kids, and making sure that they have what they need. So in terms of the healthy separation, it is really important. I give them a document that is very clear. I tell them to share it with their mediator, their financial neutral, their friends, their family, so they understand what that process is. It's largely influencing their self-care, helping them look at their role in getting to this place, helping them make basic decisions like, are we going to be emotionally monogamous during our separation, physically monogamous during our separation? Will we spend time together? The holidays, will we spend time separately? So it's not leaving things not clear. So with COVID, that document has come in really handy because people's brains have been overwhelmed with a lot of other things. And the document has helped people just focus. And we bring them into the sessions and we review the document so they can have a plan. And I think when we talk with Hollis and we learn more about the financial piece, I find when clients have a visit with a mediator, speak to someone like Hollis, I begin to see them act differently in sessions because they have information.
Absolutely. And that's really what this is all about. How can we as divorce professionals give people the information they need to make the best decisions for their family? Every family is unique. And, the undertone of our conversation today is non-adversarial divorce. We will talk about what does that mean? What are the processes? What are families' options? I know both Hollis and Kelley have been trained, like myself, in mediation and collaborative divorce. What is that? I think there's a lot of misconceptions about what that is. But Hollis, let's talk to you for a moment about this very, interesting issue at this time about the house. The marital residence is always a big issue in any divorce, but particularly with COVID and healthy separations. Yeah, tell us what you're seeing and how you're guiding families.
It's a really interesting landscape out there. Kelley, I love that you have a client that now the short-term lease, because I find that we're in a place, especially where we're located in Fairfield County, where the market has just exploded. Buying a house is at an all-time high, rentals are at an all-time high. From my experience, people are looking to rent and they're asking for 2-year commitments because they know they can get the rental costs that they want right now. And the question is, does that make financial sense? But more importantly, does it make emotional sense? And so, I love that we work together and support each other, because sometimes maybe they have the money and it is well spent to spend the extra money for an over expensive lease. If for the kids and for the family, that makes the most sense. But COVID has definitely changed the real estate landscape in Fairfield County. So that has definitely been a financial challenge that I have seen families dealing with. And I think we all need to work together to help them through that process to make sure what decision is correct. as far as understanding the couple when they're going through this, I find my work to be, to me, interesting, but usually there's one spouse that is more involved in the financial aspect than the other. And sometimes, again, we need them to hopefully go through maybe therapy or through some mediation and understand so that the couple gets on the same page. And that's kind of where I come in to help maybe the spouse who is not so up to pace on the financial information that the house has, and it's overwhelming for them. That maybe it's the wife and she's dealing with the kids all the time and she has no idea how to deal with the tax return. And so I am able to come in and alleviate some of the stress and the communication of making sure that both couples are on the same page financially.
So, that's actually exactly where I wanted to go with the next part of our conversation. Again, we are all members of the Connecticut Council for Non-Adversarial Divorce. And there are two main processes for non-adversarial divorce in Connecticut: mediation and collaborative divorce. And each of these non-adversarial processes have the goal of helping the family make the decisions that are best for that family. So as a couple, the spouses need to determine which makes the most sense for us, mediation or collaborative. And then individually, what support do we need individually to get us through the process? So one of the things we talk about in our workshop a lot is making sure people understand the roles of divorce professionals in Connecticut and who is available to assist them. Everyone's divorce team looks different. And so I'll just do a little brief summary of mediation and collaborative. And then I'd love if you both, Kelley and Hollis, can talk about how your role might be different in either of those processes. So in mediation, couples are working with one mediator. The mediator is an unbiased facilitator of conversation and will lead the conversation in every area that the couple needs to make decisions, whether it's a parenting plan, child support, alimony, and property distribution. I'm an attorney and I'm a mediator. When I am working with a couple as a mediator, I cannot give legal advice. And so I will just refer everybody to the CC&D website for what review counsel is and the importance of review counsel. We won't talk about that today, but that's where you can talk to an attorney on your own behalf who can help you with solutions, discussing goals. The review counsel role in a mediation is really important and widely misunderstood. In a mediation, we might have a CDFA involved. The couple might be working with a co-parenting counselor. In a collaborative divorce, the team is a little different. Both spouses have their own attorneys in every meeting rather than both spouses meeting with a mediator. And there might also be a financial neutral in the collaborative process and a mental health professional who is a coach to help people manage the emotions. So both processes look a little bit different, but the tenets are the same. These are good faith processes. These are, the foundation is self-determination. People with the right information can make the best decisions for their family. Takes the court out of the process until the court does have to finalize and review and enter judgment on your ultimate agreement. But that's the court's only role. And one last thing I always tell people about collaborative divorce is it's very important that both spouses and the attorneys and the other professionals in the team sign a participation agreement, which says nobody's going to go to court. It just allows everybody to have goal-oriented conversations. How are we going to make our post-divorce life as best we can financially and emotionally for not only us, but of course the children? So Hollis, can you tell us how you might be involved in a mediation and how you might be involved in a collaborative divorce?
Sure. So in a mediation, my role has differed. I could be hired by one spouse to basically be on their team and help them to make sure that they understand all the financial conversations that are going on. And with that, I might I'll be able to give them some financial advice and thoughts to run through the mediation. A lot of times I might even be part of the mediation where I'm in the meeting with the couples and the mediator and helping navigate through some of the financial issues that they're having, whether it's keeping the house, when to sell the house. As far as collaborative, then I'm more of a neutral. Now I can be hired as a neutral for mediation as well. And that's really where I'm working for both couples. And to be honest, more often than not, even when I get hired as a for one party, I really end up working for both of them. I'm really there not to be on a particular side, but to make sure that the finances are going to make sense for everybody. So usually both spouses end up finding the value in what I do. It takes the time off of what they have to do outside of the mediation and all the homework that they need to do, and they can kind of pass that on to me. And then I'm able to feed some ideas through the mediation process for them to help further discussion.
Thank you. And Kelley, how about you? Because again, whether it's a mediation or collaborative, your role might be a little bit different.
Yes. Well, in mediation, quite often we're sort of on the outside, sort of a la carte. There could be something called co-mediation where the mental health provider and the mediator are working together. And Rosemarie, you could speak to that. I'm not sure that occurs as frequently. But in general, the couple is working with their mediator. They have their outside review counsel, and I would be sort of on the outside of the bubble, providing usually working with the couple when they've reached an impasse. And possibly I'm working with them before and talking about their interests regarding their children, regarding where they both see themselves living, whether there'll be travel with the kids, what schools they'll be going to, if we're in COVID, whether or not the kids are going back to school or staying home until September. There are a lot of new conversations because of COVID. But again, I want to stress, we're still doing basically what we've done prior to COVID, but COVID has just added sort of, I guess, an intensity to the work. So with mediation, quite often the mediator will say to the partners, we've reached an impasse here. We've been working on it. Why don't you go back to your co-parenting professional, or let's talk about finding you someone through the Connecticut Council of Non-Adversarial Divorce. Collaborative work is really interesting. There's a team, as Rosemarie said. So the couple, each member of the couple will have their own attorney. There'll be possibly a mental health neutral like myself and a financial neutral like Hollis. And then you have the couple. So basically this team is speaking and having meetings and discussing their thoughts and reviewing the couple's interests that have been shared with them. This whole non-adversarial process is about interests for the couple and helping them to stay away from positional statements, which is more of those entrenched statements, which then create the impasses. And then people just say, I'm done with the process. So basically what we're doing is we're helping people slow down. We're helping them to realize that there probably isn't a better alternative to what we're doing here in these non-adversarial processes, because when we really get the anger and the sadness and the guilt and the negative cycle out of the room, and we'll ask the couple, what is your best alternative to a non-adversarial process, most of them will realize they should probably stay in this process, because especially if they have kids, they're going to be co-grandparents possibly one day, and their relationship is not going to be over. So there's a lot of skill development in this process. As you can tell, we're all very committed to helping people reduce trauma in very conflictual divorces.
Thank you, Kelley. Yeah, so, we haven't even touched on other professionals who might be called in on any specific situation, of business evaluators, appraisals, real estate professionals, tax professionals. But the idea for people to understand is that the team is dependent on you and on your specific family. I'd love you guys to just share, because we're coming to the end and there's so much more we can be discussing, but where people can find you. Hollis, why don't you start? We've only got a couple more minutes already. Wow.
So you can find me on the pricefinancialgroup.com website. Again, we're based out of Wilton. My email address is hhardiman, HHARDIMAN @pricefinancialgroup.com, or you can give me a call at 203-423-5985. Again, we also have our workshop that we do at divorceresourcect.com.
Great. Kelley, go ahead.
KelleyHopkins-Alvarez.com. Kelley is spelled EY. You can also find me on Facebook, Kelley Hopkins-Alvarez Manifesting Positive Outcomes, and you can text my work cell, 203-948-0938.
Thank you. And again, I'm Rosemarie Ferrante. My website is divorcemediationct.com. My phone number is 203-791-3868. And my email is rferrante@divorcemediationct.com. We hope that you will join us again, and please look at divorceresourcect.com or on Facebook, because we have another workshop coming up in March. Kelley, we need to talk to you about that. Hope you can join us. And thank you all very much for joining us today. We look forward to seeing you again soon.
Thank you.
Bye, ladies.